talking about vinyl versus digital, how how have you changed, or how has your music evolved with the shift from vinyl to digital? And are you still engaged with vinyl music? You know,
First of all, I think the whole debate, vinyl and digital, it's tired, and people are beating a dead horse. You use what's comfortable for you. I love vinyl, but personally, I don't like lugging 6 crates of records to a gig, which I spent years doing, right? And I love the fact that I could walk with all types of music in the palm of my hand with USB keys, right? Or even if I have a laptop or whatever.
I'm me. And how about musically? I mean, as far as like the actual sound of vinyl versus digital, the timbre,
I actually prefer the sound of vinyl because it does sound kind of warmer. It's not as tinny, and it's not, and I find that it does have more dynamics, right? It doesn't tire my ears, and when music has more dynamics, it doesn't tire your ears. And that's what digital does. That's from my feeling. I'm not a technician on vinyl, on analog and digital, right? But on a producer's standpoint, working with digital and analog, I have had experience working with analog. When reel to reel was happening and ADAT and all that kind of stuff. So I can actually hear the sound difference, and I do prefer the sound of analog, vinyl or tape or whatever, to digital. But digital is very convenient. The two things, analog and digital, sound different. And me, I guess, growing up hearing analog, I prefer the sound of analog. I think it's a lot cleaner. Even if it's not cleaner, it's just a lot warmer, right? It's pleasing to the human ear. It's more pleasing to the human, where digital can be very strange at times. It can just it can reinterpret sound and just make it kind of a little more flat. When you had more college radio stations, the airwaves were not as homogenized, but now the airwaves are homogenized, and now it's more the internet that people are going to find.
luckily,
cutting-edge music.
and luckily we have podcasts now. We have other ways of getting music, and people who want to find it will find it.
Yeah.
And the beauty is, it's there.
It's there, exactly. The only difference is that you cannot put it out to people as a captive audience. It's all over the place. That's one thing I don't like about the internet. It's just all over the place. It's like a vast wasteland of great stuff, but no one's gonna find it.
And one of my questions I wanted to ask you was, how do you go about sourcing music? Like, we have access to so much music, and there's a surplus of everything out there. So what's your process like as far as...
Well, that's one thing that I don't like about digital, the fact that there's so much out there, good and bad.
Yeah.
Seriously, there's no quality control anymore. Where anyone with an internet connection can make a really bad piece of music and upload it to iTunes. Or even the screening process with things like iTunes is not even the same as it was 10 years ago when it sort of started. So I do go to stores like Beatport and TrackSource. I listen to other people's podcasts because there's just so much stuff out there. It's not as easy as back in the vinyl days where you went to the record store and this is the new stuff that came out in the store. You have 100 pieces, you go through them and you pick what you like. Now you've got 1,000 pieces, you have 1,000 releases, and 80% of them are probably very bad, not well produced, because everyone's using software, and no one's using someone to master the stuff. So the quality is not the same as it was 10, 20 years ago. And you have to sift through all of that stuff. You have to sift through the 5 times more releases, to get something that's that you can feel or that's really good. So how do I get my music? I just go everywhere. I go to all the sites, iTunes, Beatport, TrackSource, the stuff I know that specializes in the music that I like to play, and I listen. I sit down for hours and listen. Unfortunately, there's more music out there than ever before.
Now, do you have people sending you stuff?
All the time.
Independent, yeah.
And that's another reason. That's another way that I have. And oddly enough, there's a lot of good stuff that people do send me. I used to get a lot of promos that were terrible, right back in the vinyl days, and it'd be like, okay, I can't. But a lot of people send me stuff, and it's quite good. And The sad thing about it is it can get lost in this vast wasteland of digital music. It gets lost.
What inspires you? How do you, when you have an idea or when you visualize something you want to create, a sound or a beat or a mix? What do you play around with that in the studio? Do you go for a run? Like, what's your source of inspiration, and how do you see that through?
Inspiration comes like all the time. I'm talking to you right now. I'm thinking of a beat right now that damn, I wish I was back in my studio right now laying down so that I won't forget it. But I'll forget it in the next 2 minutes. But inspiration comes all the time. It could be anything. I could be on the streetcar and just think of a sound, or somebody could say something funny. And in my mind is like, oh my God, that's a track right there. What he just said, that's a track. Or so inspiration comes all the time. I think consciously, subconsciously it comes all the time. Consciously, I listen to a lot of music that I grew up to. A lot of 70s funk, soul, R&B, calypso, reggae, rock, classic rock. I listen to a lot of stuff because I actually miss it.